What's up, YouTube? It's the Action Figure Grader coming back to you with part 2 of the unboxing of some items I got back from grading with Collector Archive Services. As I mentioned in the video yesterday, most of these items were sent between, or all of these items were sent between January and March of this year, so about a 7 to 9 month turnaround time. And we're going to start with some first shot prototypes from the Power of the Force 2 line that dates back to from 1995 to 2000. And here are three that were already in my collection. We've got an 85 plus first shot prototype Weequay. We've got an 85 plus first shot prototype Bossk, and then the same for Lack Zivrak, and he scored a 90. So all of these are kind of first shot, early pre-production prototypes for the Power of the Force 2 line. And we're going to start off with the first one that came back, and this is another Weequay test, and this is, I consider, more of a test shot than a first shot. And what's the difference? Well, a test shot would be production colors, unpainted, testing the final plastics and the final mold and the manufacturing equipment to make sure before they do the final retail product and it starts going through the assembly process and painting process that everything looks good. So it's a little bit different than this one, which is non-production colors. This would be considered an earlier prototype. You can see he's got the peach head black and a slightly different shade to the limbs, although the limbs look pretty close to the newest test shot here. This one is labeled a first shot, but this is how I consider it a test shot because these are the final production colors. And this also included unpainted non-production color weapons. So that's kind of different versus the other earlier prototype that I have. So this is a really nice example. These are not the final colors that were used for the accessories, the vibro axe and the blaster pistol, but a really beautiful example. I got this from Matthew I. Thank you. All of these prototypes came from Matthew I. Who's a friend of mine and has an incredible collection of Power of the Force 2 pre-production items. This scored a 95. 95. That is an unbelievable score for a test shot prototype. I just can't believe they got that high of a grade, but it was really mint. I knew it was going to score at least a 90, but I was really surprised when it came back with a 95 grade. So pretty incredible to get, you know, a 1997 prototype that has kind of survived changing hands during the engineering process and kind of the final production process, and to get a 95 on it is pretty amazing. The other one I got is this one. This is another test shot, kind of in final production colors for Neonum, and it also again includes weapons that are not final, and I'm going to show you why they're not final in a second, because I've got another one that is very similar to this that is on the card, and you can compare the weapons. But these were cast in kind of a dark blue translucent plastic, very similar to like the Imperial blasters from the vintage Kenner line, and pretty incredible item. I think that this one scored an 85 overall because there is a little bit of, I think, discoloration going on with the torso. It's very, I'm guessing, but I think that this torso piece has discolored a little bit relative to the limbs. It could be a different plastic, but I doubt it. I think it's just discolored a little bit. And that's why it got the 85 grade. So test shot prototype, Neonum, 87.3 was a score. So again, I really think this is a test shot as well, but they labeled that as first shot and this one is test shot. But I am going to defer to the grading companies on that one. Now, the third pre-production item I got is this one, and you can see that it's just not the same color plastic. It's similar, but it's not the same. It's a kind of a little bit lighter blue translucent plastic. It's very close to the final production color, but it's just a little bit lighter. And this is a mint on card quality control sample. So this is the Collection 2 green card with the foil sticker. This graded an 85, 90, 85 were the subscores on that quality control sample. How do I know this is a quality control sample, you ask? Well, because on the back, it's got the Kenner standard tag. And so what they would do is, as they were testing the equipment for the final assembly of the retail packaging, Kenner / Hasbro, I think Hasbro bought them right around this time, but it has Kenner and Hasbro on the label, which was the case when Hasbro first acquired Kenner. They were kind of dual branded, and then eventually they just moved over to just Hasbro. But this is the tag that's on the back, and you can see it's dated July 10th of 1997, and this was in the Smile Factory. And this was signed off by the quality assurance engineer. I think his name is Brian. He's on his signature is on so many of these Kenner standard tags. So pretty cool to have that as part of the collection as well. And again, thank you to Matthew I for these awesome pre-production items. So that is all of the pre-production that I got back, and I got a few other kind of odds and ends before we dig into some other mint on cards. But this is another one I got back. This was a purchase from Rogue 5 Toys, Chris W. over at Rogue 5 Toys on Facebook. Thank you so much for the awesome item. This was a Death Star droid baggie, mint and sealed baggie. This is the ESB-A baggie, and here is the label on it. Death Star droid ESB-A baggie. And it scored an 80 plus. I think that was a pretty generous score. The baggie's got quite a bit of wear to it. There's also a little bit of wear to the Kenner made in Hong Kong kind of ink stamp on the baggie. I was expecting an 80 overall, but they did give it an 80 plus, although I think that might be just a little high in my opinion. But pretty cool to add that. And you can see how it kind of sits next to my loose graded AFA 85 Death Star droid. You can see how wonky the eyes are on this example. I'm really surprised that AFA gave this one the 85 score, but the eyes are just a little bit off kilter. It looks like, as I've mentioned in the past, that Chewbacca bonked him on the head. And then this one is much cleaner. If you look at the eyes on this one, they're much more uniform, kind of even, I guess is the right word. The figure itself also has beautiful paint applications, especially look how clean the paint is around the mouth. Very, very dark black paint that presents really nicely, and it's a really great condition overall. But pretty cool to add that baggie to the collection. So thank you again to Chris for that. And then I got another one that I went ahead and got graded, although I'm going to have to adjust my camera here just a little bit here. But this is a Black Series. This was an online exclusive Black Series for the Star Wars Rebels character Zeb Aurelius, and this was a gift, actually. I received this as a gift from my sister-in-law, Katie. So thank you, Katie, again, for this awesome item. She actually bought a Big Bad Toy Store collector-grade version of this, sent it to me, still in the sealed collector-grade box, and said, I know better. I know how you operate. I'm not even going to touch this or try to make it look nice. I'm going to send it just as I received it. And it did get a 90 grade. So very, very excited about that. Here is the label on that one. Black Series fan channel exclusive Zeb Aurelius, and the box got a 90, the window got a 90, and the figure got a 95 for an overall 90 score. But this thing is massive. I can't tell you how heavy this thing is. It's just a really, really big box, but presents really nicely. And then there's Zeb with his smug look on his face, holding his kind of electro staff that we all know and love if you are fans of the Star Wars Rebels cartoon on Disney+. I'm still working my way through the series. I think I'm only on season 3 right now, but absolutely love the Rebels. I just think they're so awesome. I hope that they bring Zeb Aurelius and the rest of the crew into live action on Disney's Ahsoka series, which is the heavy rumors. It looks like they've already cast Sabine Wren, they've already cast Ezra Bridger, but hopefully Chopper and Zeb Aurelius will make the appearance as well. Obviously, Kanan Jarrus is already dead as of the timeline for the new Ahsoka series, but what an awesome item. It just looks so cool. I love that look on his face. He has that look on his face like my significant other does when I have 16 boxes arrive in the mail for me. It's that same look. It's that exact same look. Now, I'm going to pause it here, and then we're going to dig into some more vintage collection gems. Back to the vintage collection we go, and I've got some gorgeous Target exclusives. Star Wars Droids 50th anniversary of Lucasfilm specials here. And I want to say thank you to Boss Bounty again. He was the one that sent me the Boba Fett and the R2-D2 when the US was having supply chain issues and we were not able to get those two figures. The C-3POs were readily available, which I'll show you in a second, but we could not find these Fetts or R2s anywhere. And Tim was kind enough to say, hey, man, I'll send them over to you. And I paid him for it and everything. But this is an absolute beauty. This is the Boba Fett, one of the best, absolute best releases from last year. And just extremely happy to have it finally back in my collection. Look how beautiful that color motif and that card art is. It is just unbelievable. And to top it off, it got a 95 with CAS. Straight 95s for the sub scores. It just missed a 95 plus from CAS. So if it had 0.2 more points, it would have gotten a 95 plus. Again, I've never been able to get a 95 plus on anything, and this was the closest I got. And the fact that Tim picked it up for me, shipped him to me from overseas. I put it in a star case, sent it to CAS, so he got shipped again down to Florida, and then back to me, and it got a 95. So just an incredible piece for my collection. I'm super, super happy to have this one. Huge bubbles on these exclusives. And one quick note is, we got the back on here, but as a number of you have pointed out in the past, there's nothing on here that says Vintage Collection, right? There's nothing on, even though it is kind of marketed under the Vintage Collection logo, and Boss Bounty showed me some of the press photos from Hasbro that actually show Vintage Collection on there. There's nothing actually on the packaging for this that says Vintage Collection. And, I don't know how AFA does it or UKG does it, but at least with this one, they just say Hasbro Star Wars Lucasfilm Limited 50th anniversary droid series Target exclusive. So I do find that interesting that they elected not to include the Vintage Collection logo on there. I think there's just so many logos going on with the droids and with the 50th anniversary kind of logo there that they just didn't decide. I'm just surprised they didn't put it on the back somewhere, maybe just even down here in the corner. But it is what it is, and I don't care. But it's just an unbelievable score for one of the absolute best releases. Now, along those same lines, I've got the R2 here, and again, this was sent to me from Tim, so thank you again. This one is another beauty. I love the color motif on this one. That card art is just fantastic. Probably, this is the Boba Fett is a class by itself with that card art, but between the 3PO and the R2, I easily like the R2 art the best. It looks fantastic. So there he is. We'll do a quick zoom in here so you can kind of take a look at that. Looks great. Looks great. Thank you so much again, Tim. And this one scored an 85 plus, which I'm 100% just fine with. The card got an 85, the blister got a 90, and the figure got a 95. So whatever was going on the card, I think it was just some light edge wear, if I remember. I didn't see much. I know that it's got the indentation from the actual stamping of the blister onto the card, so maybe that's where they dinged it. I don't know. There was a little bit of edge wear here and there on the card, but an 85 plus is perfectly satisfactory when you're talking about Target exclusives. It's just so hard to get any of these in mint condition. And then finally, I've got the one I was able to get myself was the 3PO. It was obviously readily available early or late last year into early this year. And here's the 3PO. My only complaint again with the 3PO is that he's too small. Yeah, I just wish, this is obviously a repaint from the recent release, and everyone kind of agrees that it's too small, but a very, I love the colors. It harkens back to the droid style C-3PO from the vintage Kenner line. I don't particularly like the card art on this one. It looks kind of strange to me, but this one did score a 90 overall. So C-3PO, I just wish the figure was bigger. That's the only big complaint I have about it. But and again, the same kind of card art on the back. I did get several of these graded, and they have already been claimed for new homes. This one scored an 85 plus, and then I did get one more 90. So I did get those in, but those have been claimed by good buddies of mine. Now it's time to finish this video off with some really awesome vintage Kenner mint on cards. And so here are the mint on card vintage Kenner items that I got back. We're starting off with an absolute doozy. All three of these that I'm going to show you were purchased from Rogue 5 Toys on Facebook. Now this is an interesting one, and I'll tell you why in a second, but this is the 31 back A Star Destroyer Commander. I picked this up from Chris, and it's in fantastic condition. But if you guys will remember, Collector Archive Services started offering a service for first 21 characters on the Star Wars cards or the Empire Strikes Back cards only. And it's called BPS, Bubble Protection Solution, or something to that effect. So I decided to give it a try on this one. I was hoping to be able to show this sooner, but just given their turnaround times, it's finally getting back to me. But I sent this in very shortly after they announced it. And what it is you can kind of see it over top of the card there. And it's like a protective acrylic film that goes over the entire front of the card, over top of the blister, and is perfectly scanned and shaped to provide a secondary level of protection. And the negatives of it, I think, are, first, they have this weird stamp down here that says CS, patent pending technology. I kind of wish they hadn't done that. I wish they had put it on the back instead of on the front. I think it's very minor, but it does detract, in my opinion, from the presentation of the front of the card. But they do have that on there. But you can kind of see that film that goes over the entire front of the card, and it's a great way to protect, and kind of preserve these clear blister, very fragile blisters. I think it would really make a lot of sense for 12 backs, because you never know when those 12 backs are going to give out in terms of the glue that's holding them on there. But I wanted to give it a try just to see what it's like. I think overall it does present really nicely. It's maybe just a little too shiny for me. But I think if I had, you can kind of see that layer there that goes right there. I think if I had a very fragile blister, or maybe a cracked blister 12 back, something like that, this makes a lot of sense. I don't know if I'd just do it for another ESB card back like this, because this one really was in fantastic shape and didn't really need it, but I wanted to try it out for you guys so you can kind of take a look at it. But you can kind of see it's got a whole secondary bubble that goes around the blister for the original mint on card. But it's a very cool technology. I think Chris Whitlock over at CAS is the guy that kind of came up with this setup, and it does present really nicely, and it clearly provides an awesome layer of protection for the card. Now, the back of the card doesn't have that film on there. It's just over the front of the card. It's kind of slides between the card and then the second piece on the front. So it's an interesting technology. Again, it's up to you whether you want to spend the money on that. It's not very expensive to do. It just obviously adds some production time for the encasement of the item. But this one came back with a very high score. 85, 85, 90 were the sub scores on a 1980 Kenner Star Wars 31 back A. Got an overall 85, 85, 85, 90. So this is about as good as it gets for a vintage mint on card. I mean, it is punched with a price sticker, but that is a pretty amazing presentation, and clearly it's very well protected. It's like, it reminds me of like in high school, you want to have double protection. So this is what it looks like with that BPS technology. And I think overall it's very cool. I just wish that instead of having that stamp, they would have maybe just put something next to the label, the grading label on the bottom that just says BPS or something like that. Sort of how AFA does it with archival cases. They have the little silver foil archival. I think they should have done something like that instead of having that stamp as part of the presentation. I think it does detract just a little bit. The next one I'm not going to take out of the poly bag, because as you guys remember from the live stream, Chris W over at Rogue 5 Toys sold me this 41 back A Lando Calrissian. Unpunched, no price sticker, clear blister. Bam. This is an absolute beauty. I was very, very happy to get it. And I knew it would score about an 80, and that's what it came back with. The scores are 80, 80, 90 for an overall 80. But as I mentioned in the live stream, Chris said, "Ooh, that looks really nice. I really would like that back." And at first, I was planning on telling him something that was rude. But, you guys have to remember that the toy community is very close-knit when you want it to be. And Chris has done so much for me and for my collection over the years, and given me great deals and gifts and all kinds of, very fair deals on stuff that, if Chris says he wants it back, I'm going to give it back to him, So I'm going to ship this back to him after I make this video. And, he has a 41 back A survival kit offer run going. And this is one he needed for that run. I don't know why he sold it to me when he had it originally, but I think that he just didn't want to have to send it in to get graded. And so he let me do it, but I'm going to send it to him. I'm sure that we will work out appropriate compensation at a future date. It's like a draft pick in baseball where, the considerations will be discussed in the future, and that's what we're going to do. So, Chris, I will send this to you, even though I don't want to. I can't keep them all, and clearly my space issues are what they are. So I don't, if this is one you want back, then I'm going to send it back to you. But, again, as I mentioned, Chris has done a lot for me. And here's yet another example of something that Chris sold me at a very fair price. And, I have to take that back. He might have actually sent this as a gift, this Lando as a gift. So who am I to, if he wants it back, I didn't pay anything for, obviously I paid to get it graded, but, I'm pretty sure that Chris sent this to me as a gift. So, Chris, it's coming back to you. But, you know, he did sell me this one. Then this is the Survival Kit 41 back A offer for Bossk. This is my 7th mint on card Bossk. So thank you again, Chris. Beautiful, clear blister, unpunched, with a price sticker in the upper right-hand corner of $249. So really awesome to have this one. There was some edge wear over here, so I was worried it might get the 75 plus, but it did come back with the 80. The scores were 80, 85, 80, and the weapon had come loose inside the blister. Luckily, it still presents pretty nicely there, but it got the 80 figure score because that weapon had come loose. But the blister score of 85 is awesome. I mean, it's just in fantastic condition, no dings or anything like that, clear, and an absolute beauty for my collection. I didn't pull up all the other Bossk off the wall here to present with it, but yeah, this is my 7th. I've got another Empire Strikes Back 41 back. I think it's a 41D. Don't quote me on that. I also have the Toy Tony General Mills 45 back. I've got the Return of the Jedi 77 back and 65 back and 48 back. And then I also have the Palatoy Tri-Logo. So this is number 7. And thank you again, Chris, for the incredible Bossk to add to my run. And thank you so much to all of you for watching. I hope that you enjoyed it. Please leave a comment below with any questions or if you have any thoughts on it. Thanks again for watching, and I'll be back soon.